This meeting is called to order. We are here to get an update for the Restoration Partnership State Trustees. David, turn it over to you.
Thanks. So I've been with the Restoration Partnership since they formed, and I'm the one that set up this meeting. I've met with the previous county commissioners as well. I'm actually going to have Dan start. He is our current alternate trustee for the state, and then we'll give you an update.
Yeah, so wanted to give just kind of we did introductions a little bit, wanted to just talk a little bit about kind of what our role is. So the Restoration Partnership is made up of federal agencies, state agencies, and the Coeur d'Alene Tribe. We have the Forest Service representing the Department of Agriculture, Fish and Wildlife Service representing the Department of Interior. The state of Idaho is represented by DEQ and Fish and Game. So that's how all of us are kind of involved. And then the Coeur d'Alene Tribe has a trustee from the trustee council. And this is the group that's put together to oversee spending for natural resource damage restoration from legacy mining waste releases. So it's kind of the second part of under Superfund. EPA is tasked with going in and cleaning things up. And then there's also funding for restoring the natural resources. So the fish and wildlife, those types of things, restoring the ecosystem after the cleanup has been done. So there's within kind of the Restoration Partnership, we have a trustee council and then a technical team. So I'm the state's alternate trustee. Carson Watkins, who's the regional supervisor for Fish and Game, is the primary trustee for the state. And then Dave and Bob are both the state's representatives on the technical. What we wanted to talk to you guys about today is that we have currently an open public solicitation for projects to be funded through the Restoration Partnership. I can't remember what was the date of the last one we did, Dave?
It was 2019.
2019. So it's been a few years since we did a public solicitation. It's currently open until June 1st to get ideas. It's just we have a simple kind of 2-page project idea form that any entity can propose a project idea. The trustee council will sort through that, and if it's consistent with kind of the types of things that we're looking for, we would invite those projects to a full application. Some of the kinds of things we've done in the past at the county level is fish passage at culverts and bridges, those types of things have been a nice overlap. Dave will talk a little bit more about the Trapper Creek project that we did with Shoshone County previously. We worked with lots of other groups in Shoshone County, like Jean Day Pond was a project we provided some funding for. And because of where Shoshone County is located and where the mining district sits in the middle of it, really almost everything in Shoshone County is kind of right in our tier 1 priority area for projects that we're looking for. So I think there's a lot of opportunity, potentially work with you guys on funding projects. So I'll turn it over to Dave to talk a little bit more about the specific solicitation, what we're looking for.
So in the most general sense, counties generally agree, and we believe that healthy natural resources help support ecotourism and recreation, and that brings money into the county. And so there's a benefit, just a general benefit from that to you guys. On a more hard dollar partnership, leveraging county funds with Fish and Game, partnership funds, is typically infrastructure projects. And that would be things like Dan mentioned, you have culverts that are failing. If they're on important fish migratory streams, we can help fund some of that. And so Trapper Creek is a good example. Last time around, the county actually had contracted with Polta. They brought, I think, 3 different potential crossings that needed revision to us. Trapper Creek was selected. There were 2 undersized perch culverts. We paid to have the county's cost share was the actual work on the ground. You remove them. We paid for a bridge and all the materials for the project. You guys installed them. You got a better crossing, or last longer, met the need better. We got the fish passage and crossing. So that's an example of a kind of project. Most of what we'll do, that will probably align with the county is either rec sites. We're talking to Kanawha County, they want to put in a fisherman access, small parking area, a T-dock out in the river. A rec site connects the public to restored resources. Like, we're not going to put in a city park, but if it's something related to natural resources, we can partnership and cost share with you guys on that sort of thing. This is pretty short notice. We did put out a public service announcement. The solicitation period has actually been open since the middle of April, but we haven't been getting much response, and so we wanted to reach out particularly to you guys. The application process is very simple. We have a website, it's restorationpartnership.org. All the application materials are on there. The restoration plan is on there. All we're asking for at this point is what we call a project idea sheet. It basically says, where's the project? What do you want to do there? And a general estimate of what the cost is. We'll put it through a 2-week review, make sure it does or does not align with our restoration plan. If it doesn't, we'll let you know. If it does, we'll invite you to give a full application. That's a little bit more involved, but there'll be a 45-day period to develop that application, and we can actually provide some technical assistance with developing that if you need it. The county generally has the expertise. This is open to the public, it's open to NGOs, it's open to other agencies. So part of the idea with that project idea form is, even if you miss the mark just a little bit, if we think the idea has potential, maybe we can come along and say, hey, if we tweak the project this way, or if you could cost share a little bit more here, we could cost share a little bit more there. And we don't want to throw out good ideas just because they don't quite hit the mark. We want to be a partner with the applicant. So, pretty briefly, that's it. We've got $129 million available to us. Again, it's got to tie back to damaged natural resources, and with the counties, typically it's some sort of an infrastructure project or some kind of recreation project.
Okay. Now, what was Kanawha County you were doing? What were they doing again?
So I haven't actually seen the form yet, but when we talked to the commissioners on Monday, they have a small site, the confluence of St. Mary's and St. Joe River, that was donated to them. They'd like to develop a fishing access point there. So I think we're probably going to help put in a gravel parking lot, maybe a T, form fishing pier. Pretty simple, but those kind of sites get tremendous use by the public.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's not related to the restoration partnership, but you probably know up at Peter Bridge, we're putting in a floatboat access on the South Fork. So that would, that project's already in place, but that would be the kind of thing we could help you develop if you had other sites like that where you wanted to do something like that.
Okay. And this all has to be done by June 1st?
So June 1st is just a 2-page idea. Now, let me also say this. The first time we went out for solicitation in 2019, we'd been developing the plan for 3 or 4 years. There was a bunch of anticipation, and we got inundated with projects. And we barely had the capacity to really process all that. We've gotten through most of those projects. There's a few still finishing up. And so we put this solicitation out. We haven't gotten much response this time. We are considering going to either annual or every other year cycle. And I think that's going to be a benefit to everybody because you can anticipate it. If you missed that public notice that we sent out, you got no idea this is going on. If you know you have other grant cycles and how they align with our grant cycle, I do believe in the future that will put you guys and us in a better position.
Okay.
So, but glad to help you guys if you come up with a project. Glad to help you in the next week get that 2-pager in, but this isn't going to be your only opportunity.
Okay.
Okay, good.
We hope it's going to come around.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We're hoping it's going to come around sooner and on a more regular basis. We're still going through some learning things too.
Okay. Thank you.
Would the North Fork of the Coeur d'Alene River qualify for projects?
Yes, so the project area is the entire Coeur d'Alene Basin.
Okay.
Generally it has to tie to damaged, natural resources. So even though Hayden Lake is inside the project area, because it's part of the Coeur d'Alene drainage, I don't see us doing projects there. Because there's actually connectivity, of course, between the North Fork and the South Fork, it can act as a refugia for healthy fish populations as the South Fork has been improving. In fact, we've already seen that, like at the Pinehurst trailhead, and people are fishing in there all the time now. Where 15 years ago, it was nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
that's
so
nice.
the North Fork counts. We're actually working on a conservation easement with a lander up there. It's a source of cold water for the North Fork of the Coeur d'Alene. So we're actually doing some projects up there.
Okay.
And to get to your application, that's on your website.
Yep, it's restorationpartnership.org. There's a yellow star right at kind of sunburst at the top. And you'll find the restoration plan there. You'll find the eligibility criteria there. You'll find a frequently asked questions document there, and then that 2-page application. And I think I've already cards today, but you can contact me through the Fish and Game office or DEQ through their office.
Yeah.
And if you need,
You at least have somebody. Thank you.
if you or one of your staff needs some assistance, the Benoit County engineer sent me a draft of their project. So if you want to get that in, and I can help, or one of us can help you through that as well.
Okay.
You guys probably aren't going to do it, but one of your staff, they might.
Okay.
This is Shoshone County.
This is Shoshone County.
There's not a lot of staff.
It's a lot of hands.
I will tell you what,
Odds are it would be one of us.
I work very closely with Mike, on Trappers Creek, so.
Mhm.
And we can structure the funding a lot of different ways depending on the size of the project. What we did last time was just a reimbursable agreement, so the county actually fronted the cost. And Mike sent me one bill at the end, and then we just reimbursed the county. It was only $135,000 project. If it was to be a much bigger project and we needed, monthly draws or whatever, we can structure it however we need.
Okay.
Okay, that's interesting to know. I wish we, had known this a week or so ago.
Did the notice come out email or?
It was in the paper, and in the paper twice. It was in-
Yeah, it was loaded in the paper twice and then posted online.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I want to follow up with Dave. You already said this, but it's really important. We don't have many applications right now. And it's a great opportunity right now because we, do want to approve projects, and then you'll get a sponsor after the short application is put in to help you with the rest of it. So that's important. So a sponsor would be either DEQ or Fish and Game or the tribe or, someone like that to help along with that. Yeah.
And I would say, just with the amount of time that's available, if you have, if your public works folks
Mhm.
just know offhand of any culverts that need to be replaced, that's a good place to start as just
Okay.
just put it in as an idea and we can do the legwork to see, if we need to go out and do a little bit more homework to see, is it a good fish passage corridor or something like that, we could follow up with that once the idea is out there. Similarly, if there's any county-owned parcels, that are, I know, I can't remember if Shoshone has any. I know there's kind of a row of them in kind of the Kingston Cataldo area.
Yeah.
That were, at one point they had flooded and then
Yeah, they're FEMA
came
properties.
to the counties.
Yeah.
Any of those, if those were things that would you be interested in developing some kind of a fishing access on any of those? That's
yeah.
another idea that,
We just
think
happen to
that-
be looking at
We've
all
been-
those recently.
We just happen to be looking at like a parking lot. And, for access to the river as well as, their flow
We're having-
access and fishing, so.
We're having so much trouble with, parking and waste management.
Mhm.
And so would vault toilets and things even be possible, or?
Maybe if they're associated with some sort of a recreational facility.
That's what I'm thinking, like if we were trying to put in a park, if we were trying to get people to put their trash and their stuff all in one place.
So for example, at Jean Day Pond, they're gonna have a porta potty there, but they're building a metal structure to go around it and kind of house it. So it's certainly not out of the question. But it would be happy to be part of a bigger.
Right.
The other thing I would say is in terms of efficiency. If you're gonna put in a proposal for, stream crossings and you have 6 of them, don't send me 6 applications. But I'll list all 6 of them in your project idea, and we can kind of sort that out and figure out which one we might actually fund. Same thing with these rec sites. If you've got 3 sites you want considered during the full proposal development, we can narrow that down. Maybe more than one of them would fit, but you don't need to send us, 9 different proposals.
Okay.
Okay.
It'll be easier on you, it'll be easier on us.
The short application, get the idea across. Like,
Yeah.
Okay.
That's really it, and then we go into full application, which was it.
Okay. I'm thinking about the parking lot idea. We're thinking about some of this property the county has and trying to create more public access particularly to the river. Where and we've got to deal with trash and sewage and everything else that's going in the river. And so looking at places where we can do that. So. Okay.
Typically, we won't fund long-term O&M. We'll do the initial development, but we do expect you guys to, of course, do the long-term O&M on site.
Yeah, the maintenance and,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you.
I really appreciate it.
All right?
Yeah.
We're available. to this.
Any other
Perfect.
questions from the board or comments? Thank you. Very much appreciated.
Oh, one other thing that I'll mention before, just while we're here, since you have a kind of a new crop of commissioners, another project that we have ongoing that you'll probably continue to hear more about is, we're doing a project with Trout Unlimited on Pritchard Creek. It's not some of the ones being funded through the partnership. But going through and doing, habitat restoration, on the lower section up, right? The first phase is gonna be everything kind of below the dredge piles. But eventually, we kind of, the vision there is eventually kind of work through, some of the areas, kind of down, above Eagle Creek where we have the old dredge piles. So that's it's on the North Fork Basin, but it kind of still has the similar kind of historic mining impacts on that one that, so we have a pretty large project there. Idaho Forest Group, and Trout Unlimited are kind of the grant recipients, I guess, on that one.
Okay.
Interesting. All right.
Know what's going on up there.
We're gonna have to keep track.
Yeah.
Meeting